department I work in so that we are all abreast to everything that is going on. So my name is Idara, and I'm from the career support, and I work with the career support department, specifically on the alumni affairs part. So we do anything concerning alumni engagement, how making sure that we see career development and personal development in your life, even after the training. So we offer services like, number one, this workshop that's going on. We also have master classes, but those are streamlined to more technical skill, and is more skill specific. What else again? Yeah, so we also do mock interviews for those of us that have applied to several. We have applied for several jobs. Instead of waiting for when they call you out for interview, you can book a session with us so that we can prep you for interview, in anticipation for the time that you're going to be called in for an interview. We also do career counseling session where, you can book a session with us again, and we counsel you, we coach you on the best steps to take when once it comes to your career goal or your personal development. We are always here to help you and guide you. We can also review your CV if you're having difficulty on how, or you're wondering why recruiters or hiring managers are not calling you for interview. You can always reach out to us, and we are going to discuss and get to the root of the problem. That is what we CS department does. By the end of this workshop, I'm going to be dropping our CS number, so you can just kindly reach out to them if you need any of our services. We are going to be willing to help you and guide you throughout your career journey. Anytime, any day, you're welcome. So yeah, I would like to introduce our facilitator. Our facilitator her name is Queen. She's the career service coordinator. So she's going to be the one taking this session. She's an amazing facilitator, an amazing trainer. And I'm sure that, yes, of course, Josephine, our services are free. You're not paying anything. Those are the benefits of being a WAVE alumni. That's why it's very important that every single person in your circle or around you, introduce them to WAVE, tell them to come for our training, and you stand a chance to have this certificate for free without paying. I'm so sorry for cutting. So Queen is, like I said, she's the career service coordinator, and she's an amazing trainer, an amazing facilitator. I'm sure that some of you might have encountered her during your training with us. Yes, I'm very, very sure that it's going to be an interactive session, and you would love the knowledge that she's going to share today. So Queen, you can come off mute so that you can properly introduce yourself and start the workshop properly. Hello, Queen.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi.
So can you make me co-host? Let me see if I can share my slide.
Okay, Kingsley, please make Queen co-host. Thank you. And make me co-host as well. Okay, so Queen, you're now co-host.
Okay, let me see if I can share my slide.
Yeah.
Hi, Idara.
Hi, Kingsley.
It's going to be tricky to know who you are. Maybe you can say something.
I'm WAVE.
Your WAVE, yes?
Yes, I'm the second WAVE.
Okay, I've made you co-host.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
so please, let's not forget to rename ourselves. So there are a lot of Idara Akpan. Please, let's follow the instruction. I'm so sorry for confusing. I'm going to try and repost what Josephine helped us with on how to rename ourselves. So please, let's follow the instruction I just shared, and let's rename ourselves. Thank you. If you know that your name is showing as Idara Akpan, kindly rename yourself. I dropped how you can do that on the chat box. Thank you.
Dara, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Queen.
Okay, I shared my slide with you earlier. Can you help me share? I'm not able to share.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see me? Idara, can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
All right. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I like the energy in the room this morning. A rainy Thursday morning, and I'm sure that the rain spoiled some of our plan, but I think it's a bit for our own good, just so that we can learn for maybe like an hour or two, and I hope it stops so we can all go about our business for the day. Okay, so like Idara said, my name is Queen, and I will be your facilitator for this morning. And I'm always excited when I meet new people. That's one of the reasons why I love my job. I'm always excited when when youths like me embark on a learning journey to upskill themselves in this ever evolving space world of work. Okay, so we'll be talking about communicating effectively in place of work. And but first, I like to have fun while learning. So we're going to engage me on the chat box this morning. So I want us to play a bit. Let's get to know each other a bit better. So Idara, my next slide. Okay, so we're going to play in a this or that game. You're not going to choose both. You're going to be on one side. They're going to be picking either this, or going to pick that. So you're going to be using the chat box as we go. So I want to know you better with this game. So I want to know if you are an Android. You're going to be using the chat box to answer these questions. So I want to know if we have more of Android people here or iPhone person. So use the chat box. Are you an Android person or you're an iPhone person? No, you're either typing Android or iPhone. Don't put good. Thank you. Limon got it. No, Emanuela, you're either writing Android or iPhone. Okay. So it seems we have more of Android persons. Don't we like iPhone? I don't like iPhone, so you cannot pressure me. People that are using iPhone can't pressure me. So I'm on the iPhone side of life. Android God of Sakpa. That's not true. We have good Android phones. So you can't tell me that God of Sakpa that made you that's making you use an Android phone. Okay, so it seems we have more Android users here. Okay, so let's move to the next. Are you an Instagram person or a Snapchat person? Instagram or Snapchat? Okay, Instagram. None. Please, who is saying none? Tell me why. We need to know why. We need to know why you're not on any side of this spectrum. You're either here or there. Don't be in the middle. So it seems we have a lot of Idara Akpan on this call. So I'm sure Idara have no, there's no Twitter. You're either choosing between Instagram or Snapchat. Twitter is not in this option. Okay, so it seems we have more IG people, Instagram people. Okay, all right. Okay, so are you a Christmas person or a birthday person? Are you always excited when it's Christmas time or when it's your birthday, you're off the roof, you're so happy? None. Birthday, Christmas. So I think birthday and Christmas, they're almost on the same wavelength. I just feel it's a normal day to me. Which day, the birthday or the Christmas? Which one's a normal day to you? The both. No, you can't choose both. Be on one side. Either you are birthday or you are Christmas. Okay, birthday. Abigail says birthday. Okay. So I think we have more birthday people than Christmas people here. All right. So are you a chicken person or a fish person? Chicken, fish, chicken. Wow. We have few fish, more chicken. It depends. No, you have to choose one. Any day, anytime. Pick one. Chicken. So I have more of chicken people than fish people. Okay. All right. So are you a Hollywood person or a K-drama person? Ha. K-drama people. Let me see if they are here. Hollywood. Okay. Okay. K-drama. I'm happy we have more of Hollywood people than K-drama people. Hollywood. Okay. That's interesting. Very, very interesting. Hollywood, Hollywood, Hollywood. That's nice. Okay. You prefer to wash plate or you prefer to sweep the floor? None of the above. No, you have to stand one side. Korean film. Wash plates. Sweep the floor, sweep the floor. No, you can't like both. You can't like both, and you cannot say none at the same time. You are okay. Okay, I think I have more of the washing plate people. Sweep the floor. Which one is easier? Washing plate or sweeping the floor? Sweeping the floor. I think sweeping the floor is easier. I don't like sweeping the floor is easier. Okay. So which do you prefer in this hard economy or in this economy we are currently in right now? Do you prefer a billion naira or you prefer to jackpot? Wait, now I've not asked the question. A billion naira, jackpot. Jackpot. I'm seeing more of jackpot. Everybody wants jackpot. Then who will not be in Nigeria if we all jackpot? Who will not be here? So I have more jackpot than this because we don't want money. We don't like money. Jackpot, a billion naira, billion. I'm not having more of billion. Oh, thank you, Josephine. Okay. All right. So you prefer an on-site job or a remote kind of job? Or hybrid? No, let me not add. So on-site or remote? Let me see those people that don't like to go to work. Don't like to leave their house. On-site. I think I have more of remote than on-site. Oh, okay. I'm not having more on-site. That's interesting. On-site, wow. Okay. I think I have more on-site than remote. So that's very, very interesting to me. Okay, so let's move. Mango or agbalumo? Like the agbalumo season, so just carefully. They're not like mango now. We're in agbalumo season. I'm expecting more of agbalumo than mango. Okay. Since we have more mango than agbalumo, none. None. You are either here or here. Don't stand in the middle. Okay, so let's move quickly. Amala or pounded yam? Let's see. I'm an amala fan. Any day, anytime. Morning, afternoon, night. Catch me eating amala and ewedu. Why do we have pounded yam people in this place? Why? Come on, amala is soft, it's sweet. Even the ewedu, the gbegiri, the stew. Come on. Yes, but just stand one side. Are you amala or pounded yam? I know they are both. Now you're talking. They don't know. They don't know. Tell them. All right. Okay, so the last one, I'm like too light for this economy. You need something heavy for this economy. You need something light. Okay, so economy with food or first class without food, if you have to choose. Economy with food. Abio, we're not fighting with anybody, so you need something light. Economy with food. I have so many foodies in the house. First class without food. With plenty food. Food is very important, I know. Okay, all right. I hope that was fun. And thank you for participating. Okay, both are important. Choose one. Godwin, choose one. All right. Thank you everyone for participating. So I like the energy in the room and I hope we keep it up now till the end of today's session. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about effective communication within the workspace. And I'm sure that we are not new to the word communication. Now, in today's fast-paced and evolving world of business, it's very important to master the art of communicating within the workspace, within your team, with your colleagues, and with stakeholders. If there are three skills that will help you succeed in the world of work, one is communication, two is emotional intelligence, and three is cultural intelligence. And research has shown that emotional intelligence plays 58% influence on your success on any job. And also cultural intelligence also plays a big role on your success in any job, more than any other skill. But today we're going to be talking about communication. How do you communicate within a workspace? How do you have difficult conversations? How are you able to communicate with your team members, your colleague, your superior, your subordinate, stakeholders, and the rest? How do you have difficult conversations when the need arises? Now, because you are going to be working in a space where we have different people, in a workplace, we have different people with different ideologies, different belief system, different perspective about life. So there's bound to be conflicts. There's bound to be disagreements or misunderstandings. So how does communication come to play in these conversations or within the workplace? So how do you communicate and communicate well? And how do you also resolve conflicts using communication when the need arises? So next slide.
Hello, Queen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next, the other one. Not this, the first slide. Yes. Okay. So I know we are not new to the word communication. So communication surrounds us, and we cannot not communicate. You are communicating, even if you're not communicating verbally, you're communicating non-verbally. So and there are no right or wrong, there are no wrong answers here. So I want us to use the chat box. What does communication mean to you as a person? Let's use the chat box. What's reading out our chats? So let's hear you. What does communication mean to you as a person? I'm waiting. Let's use the chat box. Come on, guys, don't drop the energy. What does communication mean to you? Okay, passing information. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Josephine. A means of expressing your thoughts and feelings to the other person, correct? Okay, so it's now coming. I like that. ability to comprehend and interact with others. Okay. Let's keep it coming. What does communication mean to you as a person? So we need to be able to understand what communication means to you. Interaction between a sender and a receiver. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Engaging with one or more people. Passing across information. Okay, so it's now coming. It's now coming. Okay, let's keep it coming. Okay, so saying what you want to and being understood accurately. Okay. Ola being paid. All right, so let's put together your definitions into one. So sending and receiving information, correct. So communication can be, okay. Yes, let's keep it coming. All right, keep it coming. I think somebody's off mute. Can the person mute themselves? Okay, so let's put it all together. Communication is the transmission of information and feelings from one person to another using verbal or non-verbal means of communication. Is the transmission of information or feelings. Now, at every particular point in time, when you are communicating, you are either passing across an information or you are passing across an emotion. And within the workspace, you can pass across an information to your colleague, to your superior, to your subordinates, either by different channels of communication. So you are either passing an information or you are passing an emotion. How you feel about something, how what somebody did to you made you feel a certain way. So you're either doing both. Either you're passing an information or you are passing an emotion or a feeling through a verbal means of communication or a non-verbal means of communication. I hope we got that. I hope we got that. So if you look at, okay, thank you everybody for sharing. Thank you. All right. Now, if we look at the flow or process of communication, it starts from the sender, then sender encodes, then there's the message, there's the channel, there's the decoding, and then there's the receiver. Now, the channel of communication is not complete if the receiver doesn't give a feedback to say that he or she understands. So the flow of communication is not complete until the other person, who is the receiver on the other end, gives a feedback to say that he or she understands whatever it is you're communicating. In whichever language it is, the other person needs to be able to give a feedback to say, oh, I understand what it is you're trying to pass across. Either an information, either a feeling, or whatever it is you're trying to communicate to the other person. There has to be the flow can only be complete when the person at the other end understands what you are trying to communicate to he or she. So the modern theory of communication has moved beyond you just passing the information. It is now more around you creating meaning. Next slide, Idara. So let's look at the two models of communication. That way we can break it down better. Next slide, Idara. Next slide. Okay, so we have two models of communication. One is transmission, the other one is emergence. Now, we are used to the transmission model of communication, which which focuses only on transferring information, transferring feelings, giving directive, passing down instructions to people. But within the workspace, you need to focus more on creating understanding among people. If somebody doesn't understand whatever it is you're communicating, then it defeats the purpose for which you are even trying to communicate that thing in the first place. So we need to focus more on creating understanding, ensuring that whoever you're passing that information to, whoever you're going to have the conversation with, whoever you're interacting with understands what you are trying to pass across to them. So we have moved from just passing information and dumping things on people to trying to help them understand that information you're trying to pass across to them. So the first part is transmission, moving from the sender through the channel to the receiver. So it kind of lies on the sender to be able to ask clarifying questions to ensure that whoever it is, he or she is passing the information down to, which is the receiver, has a clear understanding of whatever he or she is trying to pass across to them. So within the workspace, you need to ensure that you are practicing more of the emergence kind of communication than just transmission. That way, communication is easier. You know that you're passing an information and the other person is telling you that, oh, I understand. And if the person doesn't understand, the person is going to ask you questions and be like, oh, I don't understand. Can you maybe shed more light or throw more light on what you're saying so that I can be able to understand? So the focus right now within the workspace as you communicate and interact should be more around you ensuring that the other person or the other end understands what you are trying to say. Either within a team, or you're having a meeting, or maybe you're having a conversation with your colleague or team members, you need to be able to create an understanding among them, just so that what you're trying to pass across, everybody understands, and it helps the flow to be easier. Is that clear? So if it's clear, let's type clear in the chat box. Clear in the chat box. Clear in the chat box. Let's see the chat box. I want to see clear in the chat box. Okay. All right. Thank you. So let's move to the next slide. Let's look at the core component of an effective communication. Next slide, Idara. Next slide. Okay, so here are the two core components of an effective communication. Now we have the verbal, which can either be oral or written, and this component it just falls between 7 to 9% of the whole conversation. So research has shown that non-verbal communication plays or has more volume in conversation than your verbal. So you're not speaking every time, but your gesture, your gesticulation, your facial expression can speak more volume, even more than what you're saying with your mouth. So to be able to enhance your verbal communication, it's important for you to practice active listening. You speak clearly and also be mindful of your tone as well. So as you speak, ensure that your non-verbal is in line with what you are saying. As you write, you are either writing or you are speaking. But as you speak most of the time, ensure that your facial expression, your body language, your tone, your intonation is in line with your verbal communication. So as I am here, I'm speaking and I'm gesticulating, I'm saying something with my body, my facial expression. If I am sad or if I'm not happy, if I'm stressed, you can see it from my face as we're having this conversation. So there are two core components of effective communication. One is verbal, which falls between 7 to 9% of effective communication, and the non-verbal has more volume, which falls between 91 to 93% of your communication per time. So sometimes you just have maybe 5 to 10 seconds to make a first impression. So as you speak, ensure that your body language is in sync and is in line with what you are saying. Okay, is that clear? So far, so good. Any questions? Let's use the chat box now. Any questions so far? Yeah, can you mute Jude? Okay. Please mute Jude. Okay, I think his mic has been off mute for a long time now. Should I mute him from my end? Okay. All right. Let's look at, okay, so let's look at the next slide, right? Wow, this question just came. Okay, so conflicts or having difficult conversation within a workplace cannot be avoided, because within a workplace we have different people from different backgrounds, different school of thought, different belief systems, and different ideologies. So when you are faced with a difficult conversation, how do you handle it? So let's look at handling conflict and difficult conversation within the workspace. So because it cannot be avoided, because the more you avoid it, it's there, and it kind of plays a role in how you have conversations with your teammates. So you just have to have that conversation just so that you can have a free flow, and you can communicate better and interact better with your team members or your colleague within the workspace. So the first thing to do when faced with a difficult conversation is to go with a goal in mind. Now, this helps you to structure your conversation. You need to go with a goal in mind. What do you want to talk about? What was the issue? How do you want to go about talking about this issue? How do you want to resolve this issue? You need to have a structured conversation in mind. If possible, you can write down the things you want to discuss with this person, just so that you're not going off point, or you're not bringing in things you're not meant to bring in within that conversation. So you start with a goal in mind. That way, the conversation is structured and it goes the way you want it to go. Now, the next thing is to listen attentively. Now, in communication, we have two types of listening. The first is active, the second is automatic. So it is advised or encouraged that you listen actively. And this is listening to understand, listening without a bias in mind. So listen attentively to the other person. Try to understand their perspective, their point of view, where they are coming from, why they did what they did, and how best you both can resolve that issue. The next thing is to aim to understand. You need to go into that conversation with an open mind. If you do not go into that conversation with an open mind, you come with different biases, and the conversation can escalate even more than it currently was. So go in with the aim to understand the other person's perspective, what the person thinks, how the person reasons. That way you guys can come to you can understand from the person's point of view, and you can also express your point of view, and you both can meet in the middle. I'm not done with that slide, Dara.
Sorry, Queen, what slide?
The previous slide. I'm not done with that.
I did not change it though.
You did.
What's showing on yours?
Ways to improve communication skills. You've gone to... Yes, this one.
Okay.
So the next is show, that's fine. The next is to show empathy. So you put yourself in the person's shoes. Yes, it's going to be a difficult conversation. Yes, everybody is coming in with their own emotions, their own perspective, their own feeling, their own rights. But you need to put yourself in the person's shoes, see things from the person's lens, understand things from the person's point of view, That way, the person feels valued, the person feels heard, and the person knows that, oh, this person is willing to understand and willing to support and meet me in the middle. Yes. So the next is choose the right time and setting. So this is a difficult conversation. You need to choose the right place and the right time to have this conversation. You can't just have the conversation anywhere. You have to choose the right place and the right time to minimize distraction and to ensure that the tempos are down. There are no high emotions flying around. You both know that you're going to have this conversation one time or a day or a time. So choose a time, a day, a place, a conducive environment to have this conversation, just so that there are no distractions, there are no high-flying emotions. Everybody is calm. Everybody is coming cool-headed kind of to have the conversation and to also resolve it. And the last thing is to seek solution. I mean, the reason why you want to have that conversation is because you want to seek solution, is because you want to resolve the problem, right? So even if you both might not agree from a different perspective or a different point of view, but everybody has come to air their views, and you can both meet in the middle. So this person is saying this, even if you don't agree, but you can also, from a point of empathy, see that, oh, this is why this person thinks this way. And okay, maybe kind of create a kind of understanding and meet in the middle and try to resolve the issues. Are we clear? And can we move on to the next slide? So let's use the chat box. Claire, move on. Claire, move on. So we can move on. Okay, yes. So within the workspace, what are the ways to improve your communication skills? The first thing is to practice active listening. Practice active listening. Aim to understand. Listen attentively. Listen with your whole attention without distraction. So while you're having a conversation within a workspace, you practice active listening. And the next thing is to be receptive to feedback. Within the workplace, there would always be feedback. Either you're giving a feedback or you're receiving a feedback. So be receptive to either giving or receiving. And when someone is giving you a feedback, be open-minded. Don't have a bias. Don't feel like this person is too small or this person is not in a position to give you feedback. Be open to receiving feedback. Listen to what the person wants to say. Listen actively. Pick out some points. And if something that you need to work on, you work on it. And even the person can even come back to you and say, oh, I gave you this feedback and I'm glad and happy that you were able to put it into work and you are doing better. So your colleagues are the best people to even give you those kind of feedback. And it also lies on you to take them and work on them as well. The third thing is to be mindful of your non-verbal cues. So when having conversations with people, be mindful of your facial expression, your body language, your gestures, your gesticulations, and every other non-verbal cue that you can think about. So be mindful of that, just so that the person doesn't go off assuming that you are, so the person doesn't go off with the wrong assumption of maybe who you are or what you're trying to say. So be mindful of your non-verbal communication. So if you're trying to say a good morning, mean it and let your face say the morning is good. If you're trying to have a not so good conversation with someone, yeah, the person knows that your emotions are high, but at least have a good facial expression so the person can know that, oh, this person respects that we're having this conversation right now. And just be mindful of just be mindful of your non-verbal cues, basically, how you portray yourself, how your facial expressions, your body language, and whatever form of non-verbal communication that you might want to use at that particular time. Just be mindful of it, just so that the person doesn't what you're not saying. So some people are listening to what you are not saying than what you are saying. So be ensure that what you are saying and what you're not saying are in sync, kind of. Because people can you can say something, people can feel like you are being disrespectful, you're being rude within the workplace. So you just have to be mindful of that. So the next thing is your tone or your intonation. So mind your voice, the kind of the way you use your voice within a conversation. So if you're talking to a superior, you know you're not meant to be unprofessional by maybe shouting or raising your voice. So mind your tone, your intonation, even talking to your colleagues, your team members, just mind your tone and your intonation so you don't come off as rude or as someone that's not receptive to feedback. And also minimize distraction. When having conversation with people, pay attention to whoever it is you're having the conversations with. So keep aside anything that will be like a form of distraction within that conversation, so the person can know that your attention is, he or she has your full attention. Also choose the right channels to pass across this communication. So within the workspace, we have different channels. It can be through emails, through chats, through memos, or even one-on-one of face-to-face communication. So choose the right channel of communication for whenever you want to interact with people, and also respect their time and the setting. Sometimes you want to have a conversation with someone and that time may not be a good time for them. You need to respect that and put that into consideration when you're communicating with people around you. Okay. Was that clear? Was that clear? Okay. Are you the only one that can't hear me, or everybody can hear me? Okay. So I think you're the... All right. Okay. Okay. So I think that was the last. That should be the last slide. Okay. So with that, we've come to the end of today's session on effective communication within the workspace. So I'm open to answering any questions. Any questions from anyone? Any questions from anyone? So you can use the raise hand icon, or you can ask your question using the chat box. Okay. So use the raise hand icon, or you can ask your questions via the chat box. Okay, so let's hear you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I don't know if you're on the call. Queen, are you here? Let me check. She should be. Yeah, she's here.
Is she here?
I can hear her.
Okay. Please, what do you mean by cultural differences? Cultural differences. I know it's not part of the communication topic we did today, but you listed it in the roles that in important roles that plays a lot in the workplace. So what do you mean by cultural differences, please?
So like I said, within the workspace, there are people with different belief systems, people with different ideologies. So people from different backgrounds, ethical backgrounds, people from different religion. So everybody, if you look at a typical workspace, you have the Igbos, we have the Yorubas, we have the Hausas, we have the Christians, we have the Muslims. So everybody thinks from different perspectives. So sometimes we can see things from our own perspective. So that's what I mean by cultural differences. People can say things from their own understanding, or from what they feel or what they believe things or how things should be. I don't know if you get.
Yes.
Okay.
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so Queen, I think someone dropped a comment. So two people have dropped a question in the chat box.
Okay,
So
let's hear it.
okay,
I
so
see.
yeah, so before I read out the question, I would like to announce again. I know I've been announcing throughout the workshop that please, if your name is showing as Idara Akpan, I have dropped several messages on how to change that so that we can interact with you more and know your name. Thank you very much. So the first question is by Suleiman, which is saying, how do you deal with laying off of staff? That's the first question. Should I ask this one, then you answer, or I should ask the two questions at once?
Okay, so what do you mean by how do you deal with laying off of staffs? Are you the CEO or are you the subordinates?
So Suleiman,
So
can you
can
like
person
clarify on your question so that Queen can know how to answer properly? So while you're trying to rephrase your question and write it and type it in detail, I will just share Tolu Lopez question. So it's saying here, in a situation where the miscommunication is from the senior colleague, how best do you handle your understanding level with them? That's what Tolu Lopez is asking. Queen, did you get my question or I should repeat it?
Yes, so sorry, the British was a bit distracted. I'm trying to join in with another device because the one I'm currently using is going off.
Okay. So please, someone just dropped a question now. Can you please change your name so that we know how to interact better with you? I just shared with you. I just replied you and I shared how you can change your name. The person that just dropped the recent comment, please change your name so that we know how to interact better with you. I replied your question and shared how you can change your name. Thank you. So we're just going to wait for Queen until she comes on this call, until she comes back on this call, since she's trying to join in from another device. So while Queen is joining in, or while Queen is trying to join in to answer your question, thank you all for staying throughout this workshop. I hope the workshop was very interesting. It was very brief for me and very interesting. We are going to be sharing a feedback form to all of you. So please don't log out. Please don't log out. Those that fill the feedback form, we have a freebie for all of you that fill the feedback form. So the freebie is going to be airtime. It's just a way of thanking you for joining this workshop. So please don't log out until we share the feedback form. You can now share your feedback and we are going to send you free airtime as a way of telling you thank you for staying through to this workshop. So if you know anybody that logged off, please call them back to join back in. And it's going to be very nice if you change your name from Idara Akpan to what your name is actually. So let me check if Queen has joined back. Okay, he's back.
Yes. Sorry, I had to switch to another device. Okay,
It's
so
fine.
somebody asked a question as regards how they can deal with a superior, right?
Yeah, so let me just repeat the question so that you have. So Tolu Lope asked, in a situation where the miscommunication is from the senior colleague, how best do you handle your understanding level with them?
Okay, so this boils down to you using some of the things we've highlighted in handling difficult conversations. Now, I know that this person is superior, but you just have to have that conversation. So you need to think of the best way, the best time, the best place. And if possible, if you feel like this person can be a bit difficult and you feel like you cannot have this conversation one-on-one with the person, we can look for another person within the organization, maybe someone at the same level with that person, share the issue that you have with your superior with that person, and let the person come into the conversation and help you be like the middleman to have that conversation with this superior, just so that that way the conversation can go maybe the way you want it to go. I don't know if that works or if that helps. So you feel like it's something that you can't have on your own, you can just invite someone that maybe that's your superiors, maybe buddy at work, their friend at work, somebody they listen to, maybe your superior as well. That way, the conversation will go the way you want. So the person will, that particular person will have no choice but to listen to whoever it is that you brought into the conversation.
Okay, thank you very much, Queen. Tolulok, I hope this helps you or hope Queen has answered your question. Or if you feel like you're not clear, you can still ask for clarification, and she's going to be willing to give you answers to the questions that you're, trying to clarify on. So thank you so much, Queen, for answering that question. The next person is Uche. Uche is asking, beyond words, what non-verbal clues do you consider critical for effective communication in the workplace? How can leaders be more mindful of these cues, in their interaction with team members? So I'll repeat the question again. Uche is asking, beyond words, what non-verbal cues can you consider critical for effective communication in the workplace? How can leaders be more mindful of these cues in their interaction with team members? Question from Uche.
Okay, thank you, Uche. So, like we mentioned, there are different non-verbal mode of communication. So it can be your facial expression, it can be your gesture, it can even be the way you dress. So I'm sure that we always hear this thing, dress the way you want to be addressed. So most of the time, like I said, your non-verbals are even speaking more volume than your verbals. So as a leader, within your team, you should always lead by example. So if you want someone to address you a certain way or speak to you a certain way, you should also speak to that person or do those things that you want people to do to you as well. So the way you want to be addressed, you address people that way. So while communicating with your subordinates, ensure that there is psychological safety. Psychological safety is whereby you make the environment conducive for your subordinates to be able to share things with you, for them to be free to share their ideas, their concerns with you without feeling unheard or without feeling not carried along. So you should always carry your subordinates, your colleagues, your team members along in whatever it is you're doing, just so that they feel heard and they feel carried along as well. So when you're not talking, you are either writing. So either through your emails, your chats, your written communication, your written mode of communication, you are saying something. So ensure that in everything you do, that you put the other person in your shoes. So when you're sending an email or a chat or something, read that thing over and over again to ensure that whoever that is going to be reading at the other end will have an understanding of it and wouldn't feel a certain way outside the intention that you want the person to take out from that conversation. I don't know if that helps. And most of these things depends on the environment you find yourself as well. I've worked in a place where there is, how will I put it? I've worked in a place where I can call my MD by his name and he will not feel disrespected, depending on how I call his name. So you can be in a place where calling people by their name seems disrespectful, while you can be in a place where calling people by their name is just a normal company culture. But even if the company culture says that we address ourselves by first name, there is still a way I'm going to call your name or just call you and you feel like this person is sounding rude or disrespectful. So you need to be careful, and there needs to be a level of intentionality and consciousness as you try to communicate daily. So the one thing with us is that we are not intentional about our conversations or our interactions. we just talk and we expect the person to understand. So you need to be able to structure your conversations at every time. And there's something called understanding tribes. It guides you whenever you want to have communication, whenever you want to interact with people. So understanding tribe is the know what, the know how, and the know why. People need to be able to understand why we are doing this thing, what we are doing, and how we go about doing that thing. So communication is very vast and is very vast. So depending on where you are and the company culture or what is acceptable, you need to know how to channel your mode of communication. I don't know if that helps.
Okay, thank you very much, Queen, for that answer, for answering the Uche's question. Hope, Uche, this clarifies your question. So I'll just move on to the next question. From Covenant, is saying, how do you deal with a junior colleague who is always coming up as so rude and rebellious to you? Queen, did you get the question?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Say it again.
How do you deal with a junior colleague who is always coming up as rude and rebellious to you?
Okay, so I think emotional intelligence will address this. So, and I always say that you have little or no control over what somebody does to you, but you have a higher level of control over what you choose to do in terms of reaction. So that is your either your junior or senior colleague. That's how maybe they choose to be. Or maybe sometimes people don't react a certain way because they want to. Maybe something happened to them that day from home and it kind of affected how they reacted at work. So that's why emotional intelligence plays a vital role in your everyday conversation or interaction within the workplace. So if you remember in the beginning, I said communication is 1, emotional intelligence is 2, and cultural intelligence is 3. So at every point in time, people's emotion or their perspective or their knowledge or their background is playing in conversation. So you need to have an idea of these things to be able to have a very robust conversation with people and to be able to also create a level of understanding. So since he or she is a junior colleague of yours, you can choose a place or a time to have a conversation with the person to say, oh, you've been behaving this way. Is there more to it than what it is? Just so that you have an understanding of, don't just assume that the person is rude for being rude sake. Some people can be like that as far that's how they are, that's their behavior. But sometimes you need to go a step ahead to make sure that you've crossed all T's and dotted all I's before you conclude that this is how this person is. So go a step further and ask them, create a meeting, either a virtual meeting or a call, but these things are better in person. Have a meeting with this person over breakfast or over lunch. Know why the person behaved this way. And if there's something you can do to help the person, you help the person. But if it just happens that that's how they are, then maybe you need to find a way to relate with them on a certain level. I don't know if that helps.
Okay, Covenant, hope Queen has clarified on your question. Thank you so much, Queen, for answering our question. And thank you, Covenant, for asking your question. Hope this clarifies. So I'll move on to the next person. This person is asking if Udwako Bong is asking, please, would there be a link to rewatch this video? I'll answer this. Of course, there will be. This particular workshop is going to be uploaded on our YouTube page, which is West Africa Vocational Education. That is our YouTube page name. So if you go there, you're definitely going to see this video, and yeah, you're definitely going to see this video. And for those that register, they are definitely going to, this video is going to definitely be sent to them. If they register for this workshop, it's going to be sent to you directly. If you did not register for the workshop, just go on our YouTube page and you're definitely going to see the video of this workshop there because it's going to be uploaded. The next question again is from Uche. Queen, are you there? She said, so recently, remote work arrangements are increasingly common. I also work remotely right now. What unique challenges does this present for communication within the workspace? That's the first question. The second question that she's asking is, what tools or strategies do you recommend for overcoming these challenges? Queen, should I repeat the question?
Okay, so for the first question, yes, like you said, remote work is taking over. I don't know if that's what you said, or if you're currently working as your. Sorry, let me go back to it. Okay, so remote work arrangements are increasingly common. I also work remotely now. What unique challenges do this present for communication within the workspace? Okay, so it can be peculiar to you. So maybe if there are certain challenges you're currently facing, you can just highlight them. So maybe we can address it. But one of it is understanding. So I think that because you're working remotely, people can always assume that you're saying this and that's not the intention. So let's take, for instance, you drop a message either on any of your platform, either maybe send an email or via a WhatsApp chat, and somebody reads it and the person reads a wrong meaning to it, and that's not the intention. I've had a conversation with a superior via chat, and the person is like, what does that mean? And I'm like, sorry, that's not what I meant. So I had to send a voice note to explain further. So understanding communication, channel of communication can be a bit of challenge. So you just need to find a better way to communicate, and also ensure that when you're communicating, the other person understands it, and they don't just go off that conversation assuming what was not intended. I hope that clarifies or that helps. And what tools or strategies do you recommend for overcoming these challenges? So because it's a remote work, there are different channels of communication, and I think it should be peculiar to the organization. So there are emails, there are WhatsApp chats, there are Slack, and every other mode of communication that maybe that particular organization uses. So we need to just learn how to utilize them well, and communicate better so that every other person can understand. So like I said earlier, we have two model of communication. We have the transmission and we have the emergence. And I think in this case, you have to focus on creating meanings than just transmitting information. So in this remote work era, you have to focus more on creating understanding among the people you are working with than just passing across information. So in this case, the emergence mode of communication will work better for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Queen. Another person, this person, please, I'll announce again, please change your name to what is probably to your proper name. I've already replied you and shared how you can do that. So another person is asking, how can you build confidence when communicating?
Okay, so it has to be an everyday thing. You can just start from your friends, gather 2 or 3 persons, share knowledge with them, tell them to give you feedback as to how you did. You can move from within your friends to maybe a group of persons that maybe you do not know, and share information, share knowledge with them, tell them to give you feedback. So for every time you communicate, you ask for feedback. For every time you have an interaction with somebody, you ask for feedback. That way you are growing. Sometimes you can, one thing I know that I used to do is to, in fact, I talk to myself a lot at home, and sometimes my kids are like, who are you talking to? I'm talking to myself. They'll be like, why? I say, I'm learning. So I talk to myself in the mirror. I record my own voice. Yes. When I maybe when I take a course and I feel like something I want to maybe relate to certain set of people or friends, what I do is I close my laptop to try to even see if I actually learned from that course. So I put my phone on record, either video record or voice record, and I begin to replay that whatever it is I learned. I record myself, more like I'm trying to pass across that information to somebody else. So after recording, I listen, I make some correction, I do it again. So that way you are building your self-confidence. So when you come out in front of people, it becomes a bit easier. Though it's standing in front of people to speak is never so easy, but it's something that you do over time and you begin to build confidence. And one of the things that also help you to be confident when you're standing in front of people is when you have knowledge of what you want to say. So you can't stand in front of people if you don't have a full knowledge about what you want to talk about. So that's one thing that will make you lose your self-confidence. But if you have a broad knowledge about the topic, I mean, you can always go with the flow and nobody can shut you down. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Queen, for answering her question. Last question for today, so that we can end today's session early, is Covenant is also asking, what happens when a junior colleague is being so rude and rebellious and his behavior is affecting your job negatively, and you have talked to the person on several occasions, but he is not changing in any way? What can you do in that situation?
Simple. You report to the HR. That's as simple as that. You've done everything that you need to do, like I said. You've crossed your T, dotted your I's, have conversation with the person, maybe even invite a third party to have conversation with the person. And it just seems like that's how the person is. And it's affecting your job. You are there to get the job done. And anybody or anything that's trying to hinder you getting the job done is a big challenge. So you send an email to the HR just so that they can handle it from there. It's no longer within your power again. You tried your best. You can't do more than you've done already. So just report to the HR or the people's person. They can take it up from there, and whatever consequences that come with it, the person will have to face it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Queen. And to also add to what Queen said, if you know that, somebody, you've spoken to the person, and the person still has the same behavior, you ensure that even when you're reporting to the HR, you have, would I say, receipts or proof that shows that, okay, these are, different things that I have done, and this person is still unwilling, and these are different instances in our work that, this person has, evidence. Thank you very much, Queen. These are different situations in us working together that this person has shown that he's rebellious, and I've spoken to him and things are not changing, so that you're not just going to the HR for just speaking sake, because it's important that even if you are speaking to the HR, there should also be proof, evidence, and substance to what we are reporting, so that the HR themselves will know how to tackle the issue from their end. That's just my addition. Covenant, hope this covers what your question. So I think these are our last question for today. Please, everyone, let's thank Queen. Everybody, let's drop a thank you to Queen for her very brief and yet very interactive session for today. Let's tell her thank you. Drop your thank you in the chat box. While we are dropping our thank you in this chat box, I would just like one or two people to come off mute and share what they have learned from this session as just a way of telling Queen thank you. Is our way of saying thank you. Let us come off mute and share what we have learned from this session. Just one or two people. If you cannot come off mute, you can just share in the chat box what you've learned, and I'm very sure that Queen will be so grateful that you took out something from her communication, from this communication workshop. So while we are trying to do that and telling Queen thank you in the chat box, I'm going to stop sharing and drop the feedback form that's the feedback form we are to fill concerning this workshop. So guys, please fill this form. We value your feedback. We want to see how we can improve on our workshop experience, on your workshop experience, not our own. Suggest topics, just be honest in your review for us. We would really appreciate it. Would really appreciate. So please, who would like to come off mute and share what they've learned for this workshop? Let's not fall Queen's hand. Let's not fall Queen's hand. Someone should please come off mute. Muyiwa, is that you? I'm seeing somebody coming off mute.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for coming off mute.
Okay, I enjoyed the webinar so much, and one thing I really gained from the webinar is how to ensure that you are not people don't assume wrongly about what the information you are passing. In the sense that when you the goal of your communication should be to be understand and not just passing information. So if you are trying to communicate something to someone, it is always good to make sure that one understand the person, their cultural background, how they listen, and who they are, so that we not judge them wrongly, and also we can always show empathy when there's a kind of misunderstanding. And when there's misunderstanding, I think Queen emphasized on that when there's a misunderstanding and you want to kind of manage the conflict, or you want to make sure that there's an understanding, you should come to such a conversation with an open mind, not just with a biased mind, or you have registered something in your mind already and you are saying, oh, this is what I want, or this is how I am, she's wrong and all that. So we should also learn to put other people's in our shoes, or put ourselves in their shoes also, so that we can have an effective understanding and communication. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Muyiwa, for sharing what you've learned for this workshop. I just dropped the feedback form link. So if you know that, so thank you so much for staying through this workshop. Please, your feedback is very important. Also, we want to, improve on our workshop every single time that we come back here. More interactions. What topic do you want? You can even suggest to us facilitators you want to come and, facilitate sessions. If that will make you attend, that's fine. So please don't forget to fill the feedback form. It really means a lot to us. And it's also a way of getting a freebie, the free airtime that we'll send as a way of thanking you for joining this workshop. So before another person comes up to say thank you, Ola Bimpe is saying this is a refresher for me, and I appreciate Queen. She was able to communicate and explain simply. Time well spent. I'm so happy that it's time well spent. I appreciate it, but sadly I'm in a noisy place at the moment. It's fine. Ola Bimpe, so far as you're joining this workshop session and you've greatly been impacted, that's our goal for this workshop. So any other person who wants to come off mute to say thank you to Queen, what have you learned from this workshop? What are you taking back to your workplace? What are you going to be imbibing in your work culture or in the way you communicate moving forward? I still need just one more person who would be brave enough to tell Queen thank you. We are appreciating her. She has really tried for us. She sacrificed her time in this cold weather that she's meant to be sleeping. Who would like to? We have a good amount of people on this call. Who is going? So that we can end
Good morning.
Workshop. Good morning. Who is speaking?
Covenant.
Okay, hi Covenant. You can share your thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Idara. Thank you so much, Queen, and thank you so much, Wei, for this training. Yeah, I actually learned a lot from the session. I learned that when communicating, you have to, and when someone is giving you a feedback, you have to listen to the person actively and with an open mind. you know, so you would have to know where the person is coming from. You don't have to let your emotions ride over you at that particular time. And again, when you are passing information or when you're communicating with someone, you don't communicate in such a way that like you have to put your non-verbal gestures in check, so the person doesn't read wrong things about you, assume the wrong things about you. So, and again, is that okay? From what the answer.
Okay, Covenant, are you still speaking? Because I think we lost you. Okay, so while Covenant is trying to come off mute, thank you so much, Covenant, for coming on the call, for coming off mute to share what you've learned. Someone on the chat box is saying she actually practiced what she preached in the lecture. So, Queen, they're saying that you communicated well, even with you talking about communication. So you just mean that you're the right man for the job. Somebody's saying, okay, because she communicated the lecture effectively. Of course, we understand that. Thank you so much, Queen, I will personally say thank you again. Covenant, we cannot hear you if you're talking because at some point we lost you. Maybe you can leave and come back again. Okay, so without further ado, Queen, thank you so much for even accepting to join or to be part of our workshop this month. We really appreciate you, and sincerely, your work